Hey, welcome everyone to the Eric the Tyrannoceratops after party. Man, that's a mouthful.
It is, yeah. Like I said, there are times where I wish I called it Spinosaurus Rex, but
because that would be more of a mouthful.
It wouldn't be as much of a mouthful, or at least in my opinion.
So far, we got here with us, of course, the guest of honor tonight. Eric is with us. My producer extraordinaire, Mr. Mikey Famine, is with us. Our doctor and smart person, student Dr. Ben, is with us. We have, it's been a while, but my very, very good friend Rags is with us tonight.
Howdy,
and
Rags.
Of course, my brother from the other coast is also with us. And the one, the only purple rhymes with orange is with us. And longtime friend and long time used to be in the shows all the time and is starting to be in the shows again all the time. Mr. Staggerson Jags is with us as well.
That's me.
That was a lot, and I had to take a sip.
Well, don't overdo it, Neil.
I know. I don't want to get like too hooched or something. Yeah. So thanks again, Eric, for being a guest on the show tonight. You and
of course. So I know that Rag said that he caught the very tail end, but to all who did watch, what were all of your thoughts?
It was the worst interview I've ever seen.
Pretty glad I missed it.
I'm joking. It's a joke.
Okay, I was like, what was so bad about
it? No.
You answered every question wrong. I couldn't even believe it.
Yep. That was the worst quiz show I have ever seen. That was the
worst. Well, in between shows, I was checking out your video on debunking Kent Hovind dating the fossil record.
Oh, yeah. You know, his whole thing about, it's all circular reasoning. Yeah. I used to
I didn't think he could get any dates, but that was just me.
Yeah, so I actually was supposed to debate Kent Hovind a second time, but then during my opening statement, Kent Hovind actually chickened out. And then afterwards...
He's known for doing that.
He is, yeah. And I learned that. And so afterwards, I was trying to debate his son, Eric Hovind, but his son said that he wasn't interested, and I was kind of bummed because I thought, hey, it would have been cool, Eric versus, someone with the same first name as me, Eric versus Eric. I thought that was such a missed opportunity.
Eric and Eric, head to head.
Head to head, yeah. The epic battle of the century.
When two Erics collide.
Yes.
Oh my God. I volunteered to be your part in the rap battle that we make as a mock-up of that show.
Epic rap battles of atheism.
Yes. Come on. Mikey, we can make this happen.
Look, I'll make the beats and I'll help you guys produce it. But those shits are so unfunny to me. Like, there is not one epic rap battle. I'm like, wow, what great rapping. No, it's just the worst rap. It's like,
exactly what we need is a heartless producer, dude. That's exactly what we need.
I'm just here to get paid. I'm here for the SEO, baby. That's the only reason I'm here. I'm gonna change the name of this rap battle. Kyle, do you want a link, by the way? Because you usually hit one of us up, and you did not.
Hey, I just need some way to put down a good beat, and I could have a best-selling rap album reading Dr. Seuss.
I will do that. I will do that tomorrow.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can send you a free beat tonight if you want. Right. Like, I can shit.
These are the crossovers that our community needs.
Easily done, my friend. Easily done. You ain't said
I
nothing
can
but a
make one
word.
next time. Yeah.
Just don't make
My
it sound
problem is like
nice play.
stopping. I'm like, I'm
So
gonna
don't make-
add 4 more
But yeah,
tracks. It's
but
not
yeah,
done yet.
I
You
actually
said don't make it sound like what, Ali?
Oh,
Andrew, just
Jesus,
play
fucking
Hickory
hold on.
Dickory Dock.
Okay, first of all, there's no such
Gregory-
thing as a crocodile, you fucking idiot.
Greg, I explained it in my video. Okay,
There's no such thing. There are a mountain of
They've-
evidence for transitional fossils. There's a mountain of evidence.
No.
Literally
no,
every fossil is a
technology.
transitional fossil.
Shit. Okay.
Yes.
That's all me. I got it. I'll fix it. I'm sorry.
What's that? What?
Who let this guy in here?
Fuck, Artie, what the hell? You come in here
Oh.
and just throw fucking shitballs
Like,
everywhere.
yeah,
What's going
so
on?
Greg, did you even watch
What
my
the
video?
fuck? Oh,
I
Jesus
thoroughly and
Christ.
very diligently explained how evolution, that's not how evolution works with the crocodile. That's not how it works.
Fucking duck.
Okay, I think Gregory's just a Poe.
Oh yeah.
It's gotta be. He's
More than
gotta
I think that he's a Poe.
Or it's Kirk Cameron.
Sometimes I think that Kirk Cameron is a Poe. Sometimes
be. No, he's just.
Oh
a
no,
dog.
he's just dumb as fuck.
He's actually that dumb.
Yeah, no, he's literally that fucking stupid.
No
that's
acting.
scary.
Breathe, Ollie. Breathe.
I'm trying.
It was
He
so
hashed
funny
it up
watching
earlier.
his debate. Those two atheists, I forget their names. It was when he first implemented.
Cain and Abel.
Yeah. I think that was their name. So, anyways, I mean, it was so funny when he first brought up the crocodile that one guy was like, "Oh my god, what a numbnut!" That was the funniest part. That was the best part of the entire thing.
Ollie.
I
Kyle's got a big
remember when
dilemma.
Kirk Cameron was just that guy from that show.
Here you go, Kyle.
Oh no.
Uh,
That was me for a while, and now I'm not out, so I'm
uh,
happy about that.
Whoa!
Sweet.
How's it going?
Speed.
Sweet.
Shit.
It's going.
Hey, Don. Just curious, if I was to invite you into the chat, how would I send you a link? I don't even know if I still have your old email. But anyway, you're not a Poe, Greg. I don't think you're a Poe either. I just think you've been misinformed.
Maybe you are a Poe, maybe you're not, but it is possible he could have just been misinformed.
Does
But
everybody
a
know
Poe
what's
would
behind
say
us?
That I'm not a Poe.
it's always possible, but it's also likely that they're stupid.
Is that the
Well,
moon?
it's not. When you're taught something
Mm-mm.
your whole life, and you're taught to believe something your whole life, it's hard to break that. Especially if if everyone around you believes the same thing, it's really hard to crawl out of something like that.
I agree.
How many stories have we heard on my show about
What
this?
is it?
Yeah, no, exactly. But how many stories have we heard about people that actually got out of it?
I've had almost
Almost
close to
all,
400.
but almost all of them have been converts. It's not like you've interviewed a bunch of people that tried to but didn't overcome.
Right? No. Usually they're either. I have had cradle atheists.
You
on,
are
as
so
know.
pretty. I miss your face so much.
Which it goes back to what I said during my video. I mean,
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I mean, it goes back to what I said during my deconversion story. I actually used to use the Echo Stones, and I genuinely did believe them. And people oftentimes are accused that if you use the Echo Stones, you're a Poe. But my experience, like, it's proof, like, that. No, I was not a Poe. I was just misinformed.
Yeah, not all, but applies an awful lot on the internet. I think that's
Yeah.
a fair statement.
Tell me about
When I
it.
found out the chemical that they used for the soft tissue in the dinosaur bones was a form of acid that they used to break down. It's collagen, is what they found, basically.
I couldn't find what you were talking about. I read like 2 articles in a minute and a half. My eyes hurt.
Yeah, it didn't even rehydrate it. It just kind of resubstantiated it. It was a very weird condition.
It got stretchy.
Yeah, it was like a plasmid form of a biological solid.
And the thing about the collagen, compared to what all young Earth creationists often ignore, the collagen is from what I remember, pretty much identical to the collagen, like an ostrich collagen, which actually gives evidence of dinosaur and bird evolution. Something that they completely ignore.
It's still something to hang the I don't know their hats upon. We don't know how that happened. And the woman that found it believes what most of you believe, so maybe don't give the science shit just because it's contrary to what she's trying.
Yeah, I mean, you have to give Mary Schweitzer props. The fact that she has all that patience, like to put up with all that.
If there are any actual saints, she deserves to be held among them.
She does. I mean, she really does. I mean, to think that, people have questioned her Christianity over it, and that she even told me that she even lost her first husband over it.
Wow.
I did not hear about that.
Although that does fall in the category of you got it. That worked in your favor. That was a phew moment.
Yeah, you dodged a bullet on that one.
Yeah.
I feel like that if there's a review over your beliefs, maybe they weren't the one for you in the first place anyway.
Precisely.
But I mean, still, knowing that she was married to that guy and then he left her, that's a big ouch.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, I'm 52 and single, never married, so it's not like I haven't had people walk away from me, but none of it for anything like that. I mean, it's not like I knew somebody and spent years with them and then found out that they thought that what I did for a living was bullshit.
This was something that I should have mentioned during my deconversion story. I should have mentioned more of the effects of when I left Young Earth Creationism. I totally forgot about that. The only thing that I mentioned, was how Celebrate Recovery shunned me over it.
Oof.
Yeah, some of my Christian friends actually ditched me as a friend over me understanding that evolution is a fact. Some of them, one of my lifelong friends, Tylene, she stopped being my friend in April 2020 over me understanding evolution as a fact. And I was trying to explain to her, she was saying, well, you believe we came from monkeys? I'm like, no,
nope, we didn't come from monkeys.
And I was trying to explain it to her.
We got a tail right here
and nipples right here.
Well, but also my uncle didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to explain that to her.
I'm so glad I have my headphones on right now. My dog's going to go in ape shit.
The thing that's kind of irritating about talking to some of these science deniers is that when you try to educate them, 9 times out of 10, sometimes that they will accuse you of being a know-it-all. They'll say, oh, well, you have to pretend like you know everything. I'm like, no, I'm not saying that I know everything. I'm just saying that I know something about this particular topic that I'm trying to give my constructive criticism on.
Just tell them you do. Just tell them you do know everything, and then just wait and see what they say.
You're right. Prove me wrong. Show me something I don't know.
So
buzz.
So yeah.
No, you're only allowed to know everything if you have divine insight from God.
That's bullshit. I've got divine insight from this room I'm in.
That's what I would say. I was like, God told me I know everything.
This house is owned by an Amishman. It's got to be holy.
God, there's another way to know
everything. God tier video card now.
But that's not the worst thing that happened.
You have to be born an immortal Highlander and cut all the other guys' heads off, and then you know everything.
But yeah, here's the
worst movie is this.
That's it.
Highlander.
So
Highlander, yeah.
So I actually had a friend of mine like named Christopher. I've known him for like 10 years. Chris is on the spectrum too, but Chris is a lot lower functioning than me. Then one day, Chris and I were driving in his car, and then we happened to have passed by, that one billboard, that has that, that March Evolution thing, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, as things evolve.
Man.
Yeah, that. And so we're passing by a billboard that had that, but it was more so of like a creationist one, and they had the evolution icon thing on there, and they had like a cross through it, you know, similar to kind of had like the Ghostbusters logo and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
Wait,
anyway,
the first one or the second one?
the first one. So anyways, Chris and I were driving. Because I saw that, I then thought, hey, I should ask Chris what he thinks of evolution. I asked him, hey, do you think evolution's true? He said, yeah, I think it's true, but I'm just scared that my girlfriend Jess is gonna break up with me over it. Jess is a big time, you know, Christian and whatnot. And I said, oh well, I don't think she'll break up with you, but if it becomes an issue, you can just show her websites, you know, such as like BioLogos. BioLogos promotes theistic evolution, so you know, you could show her that to how.
Eric, can I ask you where you're from? I'm sorry, I absolutely missed everything else about you. I'm out of curiosity.
I was born and raised in Billings, Montana.
Holy shit, I've been in Billings, Montana.
Eric was there.
Me too.
However, I was half your age when I was there, so it's been
Eric
a while.
wasn't there.
So then after that,
I'm pretty sure I spent at least 3 nights in Billings, Montana. I actually have a friend who has family in North Dakota. There's gotta be like
basically the same thing as Billings, Montana. It's like a city in Billings, Montana.
It's the same thing as knowing where Billings, Montana is, because there's like 30 people
in North Dakota, yeah,
that know where Billings is,
and they all are in North Dakota.
No,
yeah, and that's one of the
different
plans that I have after college. After college, I do plan on moving out of Billings, you know, just so I can have a new start. But anyways, going back to my story.
I apologize.
There then started to be a lot of drama between me, Chris, and Jess because, you know, Jess being a young Earth creationist, she was like, oh, Eric, you were trying to corrupt Chris into believing in evolution.
Damn you.
And Chris and Jess got into a lot of heated arguments over it. And pretty much Chris and Jess like were blaming me over it when no, I just asked Chris a simple question. Do you think evolution is true or not? And then one of their friends named Cash, who's a really, really big guy, he was planning on beating the crap out of me over it.
Really?
Yeah, holy crap.
Did you fuck him up?
What a dick.
No,
Fuck him up.
but yeah, ultimately
Break his jaw.
So yeah, Cash was convinced not to beat me up, but yeah, there was a whole load of drama over that, and losing friends over me understanding evolution was a fact was pretty hard. And that's one of the other reasons why I definitely think AIG, Institutes for Creation Research, like I said, the belief of a young Earth in of itself, I don't think is a cult. But the YIC organizations, though, yes, they absolutely are cults. It's because that they will find those ways of like trying to get, it's either you're with us or against us.
Yeah, well, there are so many things that they ask you to accept a priori just to be part of the club.
Yeah, doesn't that kind of necessarily make it?
I'm just making up words now.
At least in my head, it makes that kind of makes it a cult.
Well, it's that part of the bite model. It's control over information.
It's a pull upon an opinion
because it's behavior, behavior, information, thoughts, and emotion are the things that they control, and that's a direct control over where you source your information.
Yep. Exactly.
Oh yeah.
No word's still made up. I don't care what y'all say.
A priori is real. It's Latin.
No, it's not. No, it's
Mikey.
Latin.
Mikey.
It's mispronunciated.
Mike.
Yeah, it is.
They speak
Mikey.
Spanish and Latin.
All words are made up.
You just made that up.
Oh.
Yep. Words is pretty much
Not today.
Actually, I read it, so that makes it true.
I also am on Reddit, and there are a lot of things that are not true on that website.
It was passed. It was passed down a posteriori.
But in my own opinion, though, I definitely feel like that Jehovah's Witness is a much more deadly cult. than YEC. I mean, just the fact that Jehovah's Witness actually has their policy of like the no blood transfusion, that has cost people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they're not the only ones that hold that.
Ooh, arrow.
Stop that, Neil.
Oh yeah, so just
Christian scientists are at least the same side. Well, damn near at least where I live, and they are far more strict with the application of that than the witnesses around me, or the Seventh Day for that matter.
I actually used to be a Jehovah's Witness, not for very long though. I was one from January 2015 till March 2015. That's very telling, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure that. I don't mean to be, the judge of all things that are true, but that doesn't really make you a.
That doesn't count.
That's more like I fucked a couple guys, but I didn't really get into it. I'm not really gay, but I was curious when I had sex with a couple of guys. That doesn't mean you were actually gay for those 3 months. It just means that for a couple of months you exercised some freedoms that you decided not to exercise any longer.
But yeah, I got some cult vibes out of them, like.
Sorry, they're not. She's not actually dying. They're playing. She just makes that noise.
Yeah, I just got kind of.
Is that Daphne?
Yeah. He said as he stabbed another dog underneath the desk.
Stop it!
It's not being
Settle down, Cujo.
Yeah,
kill! I said kill.
just
every
kicking it in the ribs.
Whenever I would go to all the Jehovah's Witnesses, meetings and whatnot, they were always so gung-ho about, we are the true religion. But every religion is going to say that. And so then after that, I thought, okay, I'm going to fact check you guys. If you guys really are the true religion.
Don't do that. They hate it when you do that.
But I found that out for myself. They hate it when you fact check them. I fact checked them, and I saw that they actually are a relatively recent religion started by Charles Russell or something like that in the 1930s.
Yep.
Yeah, was it Charles Russell or Lussell?
I believe it's Russell.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's Russell or Lussell.
I believe it's Charles.
I thought
Russell.
it was Rutherford or something.
Because there are 3 different denominations. Because it's Seventh-day Adventists, the Jehovah's Witnesses, and one other denomination that all split off essentially like within the same 10-year period from the same original branch of like that sect of Christianity.
Yeah.
I'm actually literally looking amongst you, feeling like there ought to be somebody here that can jump in and say, "I know what he's talking about."
I know what he's talking about. I just didn't want to jump in.
I don't want to, I don't want to show off in front of Stags. He gets real insecure if I start saying it. I know stuff that he already knows. So
I have known him long.
I can do this with my eyes, and it looks weird.
Rhymes.
It doesn't look as weird as you think it does.
I just did that
It
yesterday.
looks weird to me. Everything looks weird when I do that.
I'm not sure that's noteworthy.
By the way, Gregory in the chat says that he is a J-Dub.
Oh, you're a JW? Okay, I'm going to be real with you, Greg. You need to get out of that cult.
Be nice.
They're a deadly
Be
cult.
nice.
No and if buts or maybes, they are a cult.
There are many among us that would like to help you cultivate whatever opinion you have that makes you think that you might belong to something you don't want to belong to. We would.
Have you ever considered pee poo poo?
I feel like everyone here would like to help you.
I would too.
Find reasons to get away from that.
Well, I think. I think that there are a lot of great conversations you could have. Like if you genuinely are a J-Dub and you're listening right now, I think that there are a lot of people here who could have really great conversations with you about where you are in your walk in Jehovah's Witness hood. I don't know if that's a term, but also just like where you are in terms of how you value faith and that kind of thing, like legitimately.
I think most of us have walked away from something. That's kind of why we all know Neil. I think.
Absolutely.
Could be, yeah. How are they called? Because they fall under the BITE model. Behavioral control, information control, thought control, and emotional control.
It's actually more of a corporation than even a cult. It's more like Amway than it is a religion.
It's It's really insular, and I think that that's a lot of what we get toward is that it tries to isolate you from the outside.
It's
You should introduce them to Not to Witness. Have
Anyone
Yeah.
who starts telling you who you can have as friends, you need to start being suspicious of.
I swear, you sound like you're dying. Please stop. You're scaring the crowd.
He used to have 3 dogs.
Simba.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was before the last knifing
Yeah,
incident.
earlier today.
But yeah, Purple Rhymes. Wasn't you weren't you the one who asked me about like something on like my back of like a microphone or?
Yeah, when you turned around, you had something on the back of your head that looked like a microphone back there.
Okay, so pretty much what this is. What's my glasses?
Okay, yeah, it's just holding your glasses up.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. That's it, yeah. But yeah,
I thought you were talking about my glorious ponytail. I was like, "Oh, Purple, you noticed?"
But yeah, Greg, especially with Jehovah's Witnesses no blood transfusion policy, JWs actually have let babies die over it.
Yep. I know.
mean,
I've heard many stories. Being a blood donor,
what
you
is?
hear these stories.
A lot of evangelists do that shit too, and hippies.
Christian Scientists.
Not necessarily for blood transfusion, but
Well, and a lot of the
just not
evangelist
taking medicine.
churches now are the ones pushing the anti-vaxxer stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, which anti-vaxxers is one of the things that irks me a lot, especially knowing that I lost my recent psychiatrist because of the coronavirus.
That's helpful.
So yeah, so it definitely has been a motivator for me, like the fight against, misinformation, which is one of the big reasons why that I made Eric the Tyrannoceratops.
Well, then their death wasn't in vain.
Yep.
At least not entirely, anyway.
Yeah, definitely. So, Greg, how did you get into being a JW? I mean, was it from them knocking on your door? Because that's usually how they recruit their members.
Well, he may have been born into a family.
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
One of the first people I had on my show, I don't know who's got all that noise going on, but
Not me.
one of the first people I had on my show is a friend of mine named Nacho Witness, who's, he goes way back with like Artie and Stags and myself and Purple as well, from the original crew, what used to do all these sorts of after parties. And he's an ex-JW, and his would be a very interesting story. I don't know where you're at in this belief, Gregory, but I kind of figured you were born into it. If you're having doubts, first and foremost, Gregory, if you're having doubts or anything like that, that's okay. You're not alone. Yeah. And it's fine to have doubts. Always question. I recommend checking that video out. It's not as updated as my newer videos because it's one of the first probably 6 or 7 videos that I ever did. He's from Australia, by the way. His name is Nacho Witness.
I feel like that's how I met at least both of them.
I met you guys through Dawn Michaud.
Yeah.
Right?
Who just left.
Yeah.
And just really quickly, just because there are a couple of people directing comments at this person now because we called him out, like, just in the chat, like, be a little bit sensitive. Like, we don't need to dogpile this person just because they said that I am a JW. Like, let's have a conversation. Like, let's kind of keep it chill. It's great to throw resources out there and that kind of thing. But remember, like, he's a person who's out there in the world just like the rest of us.
Yeah. I always say it's fine. You can criticize ideas because beliefs, even religious beliefs, are ideas, and ideas don't necessarily deserve respect, but people do in general.
Well, I just dropped a link
Unless
there
they're
for
able.
Nacho's channel, so if you want to go and check out, his videos of him coming out in his own words.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got a lot of ideas I hate, but there's only like 3 motherfuckers I actually hate.
But yeah, Greg, one video that I definitely recommend that you watch. There's a really popular YouTube movie critic, like by the name of Chris Stuckman. They actually made a video talking about how he used to be a JW. And JW caused him a lot of pain because pretty much JW was trying to force him to give up his dream of being a filmmaker. And I believe that I told Neil once before that he definitely should get Chris Stuckman on, for like a deconversion story, I would love to
have Stuckman on, but
that, yeah.
he wouldn't pay attention to me. So,
but yeah, Chris said that he's busy making like a horror film.
Yeah, lighten up.
But yeah, he said he's busy making a horror film, so might be kind of hard to get him on if he's busy making a horror film. But yeah, it definitely would be really, really cool though, to see him do an episode of Deconversion Stories. As far as I know, he said that he's an agnostic now. But yeah, I don't know if you guys ever heard of him.
I know who he is. Yeah.
I know few people.
Mikey, did I hear you say today you were 2 steps away from Alan Alda?
Alan Alda.
Yeah.
Which steps?
Got to get him
What does that
on.
mean?
Get him on.
What does that mean?
What are the steps?
What?
This guy here, right? Eric?
He's 2 steps away from Alan Alda.
yeah.
He knows somebody that knows Alan Alda, or there might be one more step in there.
Yeah, seeing his video was really hard because knowing, man, it kind of even reminded me of how when I was younger, like how my parents used to argue with me over horror films. All right, Greg says, I was told growing up the Bible's true because the Bible says it's true. That's circular reasoning.
Yes, I think he may be leading to that point next, or not. I don't know. Yeah. What Eric just said is absolutely correct. That would be called a circular argument. Because I could easily say, well, Spider-Man's real too because he actually lives in New York, and it says so in the book, right? So it says he's real in the book, right, in the comic book. So he must be real, right? It must be true because it says so in the book. It's kind of a dumb argument, but because the Vedas also claim to be true, and so does the Quran.
It's kind of a stupid argument.
Well, all the holy books claim to be true.
I have heard much worse arguments though, like
there aren't a lot of holy books that say it's possible that and maybe this.
Yeah, or we could be wrong.
But don't take my word for it.
Yeah.
In my opinion, though,
some people are saying.
People are saying.
In my opinion, a much worse argument is, oh, well, if we came from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? I'm like, okay, well, then if men came from dirt, why is there still dirt?
In fact, better question, where the fuck did the dirt come from if there was no death before sin?
Yeah, exactly. It's because, correct me if I'm wrong, dust is made of dead skin cells, right?
Sorry.
No, that's actually a false tale. I actually learned this the other day.
A large percentage of dust, but a considerable percentage is also pollen and
dander. Most of it's dander.
Which is still
it's fun to sit.
Isn't dander dead skin cells from your scalp?
Yes.
It's
not necessarily your scalp. It's
fecal,
from everywhere.
Fecal particulates.
If you look at old people's feet, they look all scaly and white among white people anyway. And that's not because their feet are fucked up. It's because nobody's ever taken the time to just scrub the fucking dead skin off their feet.
Yeah, exfoliate the dead skin.
Have you seen my feet?
Yeah, Randolph, that might not be possible.
Are you asking me if I'd like to see your feet?
Get with me after this.
Yeah, because I'm not going to say no.
My dog's asking to go out, guys. I'll be back in a minute.
Tell him I said, all right.
But yeah, another really bad argument is the one from Ray Comfort about the banana. That is a really bad argument too.
He knows that. He knows that.
I have a friend that's near my age that was educated on Ken Ham and Kent Hovind VHS tapes.
That was me.
He's 45, something like that. Are any of you that old?
My eldest brother asked for Ray Comfort DVDs for Christmas.
Revolution. Oh, okay. Greg.
You don't know if there is, or you don't think there is.
Does anybody else know
because there's mountains of evidence for evolution.
Yeah. Does anybody else know of someone?
Genetics alone is evidence.
Yeah.
One piece of evidence I actually have
flu
right on my door. Right on my door is a replica of Archaeopteryx.
Flu shots. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Archaeopteryx is a is a beautiful example of
I
evolution.
thought that was a new strain of COVID.
Everything's an example of evolution.
Archaeopteryx?
Yeah.
We got
you went from Omicron to Oprah.
Then the coelacanth.
But I mean, Greg, just the fact that you get a flu shot every year is evidence of evolution. You want to know why you have a tailbone? It's because our ancestors used to have a tail.
I think it has something to do with anal sex.
No, we won't hold that against you, Wander.
Not unless you ask.
And apparently, Comfort's first job was tanning leather. It looks like he tanned himself a little.
Yeah, I think he did it by smacking it.
He fell. He did like a Harvey. He did like a Harvey Dent and like fell into the vat.
Well, that would explain a lot because the chemicals for tanning leather really can screw you up.
It was just the pure transfer of oils and chemicals from his hand to the hide that tanned those leathers because he was just into smacking it.
Ray Comfort moved on to apples. All right.
That's what I said, Neil.
Then he started smacking his wives around, which wasn't a good idea. That turned out to be a really
How are
bad
genetics evidence for evolution? Well, you can go back and follow all your genes. There are a bunch of genes. Most of your genes are inactive because they were once active in an earlier part of your genealogy. We'll say your ancestry, and that goes right back to when we first came out of the ocean. Okay, they're all there, and they can follow it all the way back. That's how genes are proof of evolution.
Dr. Ben, this is where we want you to jump in and say, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, I was like, everyone else was talking, so I was like, I'll wait, and if someone wants me to jump in, then I can
we have
a
doctor here that knows a little bit about.
I'm not a doctor yet. Give me a year and a half.
It's doctor in what?
No, you're a doctor.
Medicine.
You count as
you're a doctor. Don't you have a doctorate in medicine?
Okay, so let's
not yet. A year and a half.
Oh, so you're not doing. Okay,
I'm a student. I'm a student doctor.
I thought you were
almost.
I'm
sorry. Okay, already shut the fuck up.
Like that
show
Scrubs.
Send me a reminder on Twitter.
So, you know that DNA gets mutated, right? And that's how we get variations in alleles. Most of those mutations, because of course you can get mutations from radiation, you can get mutations from a bunch of things that happen externally to you. But one of the biggest causes of mutations in your own body is fuck-ups by DNA polymerase. And when you put down a base for your DNA that's incorrect, sometimes you can go back and fix it, but a lot of times it does not go and fix it. And then you keep copying this DNA, and you replicate the mistake that you made. And then the more mistakes you add, the more changes you add onto the DNA. And so it's going to change over time because now you're accumulating mistakes, if you will. And some of these mistakes are ending up being beneficial because even though it's a mistake, doesn't mean it's a bad mistake. Right. It doesn't mean it's a good mistake. It's just something that happened that wasn't supposed to be there, but now it's there. That's one way you can get it. Another way is a lot of the DNA that you have is not coding. It doesn't do anything at all. And you cut that out when you make your DNA to make your final protein products. But you have to cut those out. And sometimes there's a mistake in where you cut it. If you cut it in the wrong spot, you add another mutation because you're now changing the reading frame because every 3 bases correlates to an amino acid. So if you cut out one of those bases, then now the 2 is supposed to go with plus the next one are now the 3. So you're shifting your reading frame, causing a whole lot more than one mutation, usually in that case. So a lot of times, and the DNA is a great example of where biology does not support creationism, because I hear all the time from people that DNA is a code. If it is a code, is it the shittiest code?
Shit.
Because we can write better code. We can write way better code than DNA is. Think about this. Imagine
codes are a language. DNA is a cough.
Yeah, so here, let me give you an example. So let's say you're going to write an essay for a class. You have 26 letters that you can choose from, and you can put them in different combinations, and you get words. Okay, so this might be a short essay, it might be a long essay, but now I want you to take the same essay, and I want you to type it out only using a flip phone. Like, you know where you have to type out 3 times for certain letters, or like 2 times? So if you were to type out the same essay,
You're talking about
but
T9.
but only using the sequence of numbers that you typed on a flip phone, how much longer is your essay than necessary? Because instead of clicking 1 button for certain letters, you're now clicking 3 buttons for the same letter.
Up to 3 buttons.
Well, 1 button 3 times.
Well, up to
1 button 3 times.
on the letter.
Up to 3 times, so.
Hey guys,
You're pushing a button multiple times. The point is, you're gonna get like a 777 instead of typing a letter. So your essay is now way longer than it needed to be. And then on top of that, if you have in that essay, you had 26 letters. In your DNA, you got 4.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm sorry to interrupt. I will be right back.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna miss him.
Yeah, so now you only have combinations of 4 letters that you can use, and you gotta type 1 button multiple times over again. But then also take that, and now not only do you have to write that essay, but now I'm gonna take that same essay, and I'm gonna type out the letter A 500 times in a row, just random places in your essay that don't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything, but I'm gonna throw it in there just, for fun. And then when you read the essay, you're going to have to sift through all of that as well to try to get meaning out of it. See how it's much harder? Yes, you could understand what's going on in this essay, but you're putting a lot more work into that than you would just by typing out the damn essay. So that's what DNA is. It's terrible. It's not a good code.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
I'm going to
like
have to go too. I've got to set up for my own stream.
Oh, love you, Purple.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So,
Yeah, when we're done here,
catch
go
y'all
back
later.
Purple after this, guys. Thanks, Perps.
Bye, Perps.
Good night.
Orange.
Sorry, I was just in the middle of sending Rags a message because he kind of disappeared, but he said he was going to anyways if his roommate showed up.
Does a code? See, Gregory, does a code need a coder?
He said in the private chat he
it's
was
not
going
a
to go for a bit and come back.
It's not a code, number one.
First of all, yeah, it's not a
Secondly,
code.
you does the coder need to be a who?
That's right.
Can it be a what? Is DNA polymerase not good enough for you?
Codes are necessarily a language. Code is a shorthand for what is going on with what is just fucking biological chemistry.
What?
I don't know.
You're asking me or someone else?
Yeah, you.
Yeah,
I just
no,
put
it's
hash in my pipe and smoked it. So
a code is necessarily a language. You can necessarily take a if something is coded, it is transferred from something known to something that somebody doesn't know but can be known as part of a language. That's
Yes, codes generally are a language form. Yes.
so the fact that it's just biological chemistry doing what chemicals do, and we've assigned the letters because it was shorthand
DNA are some chemicals. Yes.
Well, it's just all of it is just a shorthand for language that gets used literally, and that's where the frustration comes in. Where you're no longer talking about chemistry that is chemistry. You're talking about, well, this is a language. No, it's still just fucking chemistry. H2O isn't pronounced H2O.
We were actually having this fun thought experiment conversation on Med Twitter within the past couple weeks or so, where people were wondering what would happen because the bases are just they're nucleic acids. But there are more in existence than just the 4 that are in DNA. And of course we know that there's a 5th one in RNA that's not present in DNA. But
right.
We're what if xanthine was in DNA? Or what if these other ones were in DNA that aren't? And if you think about it, we wouldn't have needed the wobble effect necessarily or anything if we had a lot more bases we could use. We could shorten the code significantly if we had more nucleic acids to pull from to make DNA, but it's the most inefficient, if it is a code, the most inefficient thing.
Not a code.
Ever. Not a code.
It's not a fucking code. It's not a language.
Yeah,
You
Greg,
can't have a code
DNA genetics is not a code.
It's a
not.
code. It's used as a metaphor.
It's a euphemism
to describe
it's like
what,
saying the solar
what makes
system
sense for
operates
people
like a
that don't
clock.
understand it.
Exactly.
It's like saying the solar system operates like a clock. You know what I mean? They discover
Not
this
even
magnificent operation of the bodies of the heavens, and
And
they
the-
go, "Oh, it's like a
Yeah.
clock." And then people on Earth are like, "Oh, it's just a clock." It
Yeah,
must
the
be just
calendar
as
exists
simple and easy
naturally.
as a clock.
Well,
It's a
right now
clock.
it does, like
Clock.
this.
And the
Clocks
reason
have
why, like I
clockmakers.
said, that you can have a what do it, because you are begging the question when you're assigning a who, and saying that you have to have a coder that is a conscious entity, which is not necessary. You have multiple enzymes that replicate DNA. You've got helicase, you got topoisomerase, you got DNA polymerase, you got primase. Like you have things that are acting on the DNA to make this happen. It's not just like I don't know. It's not just doing stuff. I don't even know. Like
Yeah, but it's
how to describe
sometimes-
that. It doesn't just poof magically replicate. There
It's not-
are
it's-
factors that act on each other.
You're not claiming that there's a being that you understand the motives of.
Oh no, I'm just claiming that there are enzymes that we know do these actions.
Do the things that do
Yes.
they
They do.
And they don't need consciousness to do them.
And no, Anton, no, there's no secret message in DNA.
Secret messages.
By the way, DNA doesn't always, or genetic mutations don't always work in the favor of the organism either.
Oh, no.
Mutations have driven species to extinction.
They also put me in a hospital.
And from my
That's right.
understanding, it's only by code by analogy, right?
I survived
Well-
3 heart attacks.
Some idiot called it a code once and it stuck. That's basically what happened.
I have a nice scar right here from open
course
heart
there's
surgery
things
because
science
of my
can't
genetic
explain.
deformity.
My
Yeah,
design,
I
my
mean,
designer gave me
what
3 heart
science does
attacks
have
before I
everything
turned
figured
50.
out?
Well, because
Okay,
science
understand
isn't an
something, Gregor.
ideology; it's a method.
That's right.
It's not a belief system.
That's right.
If
It's a
That's
confirmation
God is
system.
real,
Exactly what I was going to say.
if God is real, how come we don't all have tits?
Yeah.
We do.
And-
Wait, don't we all have tits?
All right, Greg. So
All right,
it's
hang
not
on.
that he's doing the god
No,
of the
You
gap.
should call it moobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like Greg's doing the god of the gap fallacy by saying,
Stop it, Artie.
"Well,
Don't tell
science
me
can't
what to
explain
do,
this,
you-
so they're-
Yeah, it's a
These
field
are
goal.
mine.
Goalposts, moving goalposts.
You have nice tits, Artie.
They
Yeah.
they don't bother me as much as they used to.
Oh, come on. The one who has really nice tits here is me.
No, honey, you're only getting the top part that makes it look like they're muscular.
Well, yeah, it says Tyrannoceratops.
Yeah, these things cast shadows to my knees.
See, if we're having the tits contest, I'm not gonna say that I'm
You don't.
pre-surgery trans man.
Yeah, let's not even. Are you serious right now?
So it's funny because Artie was telling me earlier he loses the remote control behind his tits. He loses his cell
that happens
phone.
behind my neck.
Oh shit!
They don't need my tits they don't lay over the side. Jesus Christ!
Just for I guess
Fourth dog.
record's sake, or Gregory, science doesn't claim to explain everything either.
Nope.
It never has.
FYI.
And if any scientist says they have it all figured out, they're just arrogant.
Yeah.
Well,
Or
they
selling
might have what they're studying figured out. So that
When
Right,
when it
necessarily
happens
the
that
case.
science knows everything,
Everything in a whole.
we will all be long dead.
But what we can say though is there's no like religious theories and stuff that have disproved science type of thing, right? So, no science things.
I kind of feel
No,
like we're at
Mario.
the stone age of science.
No, Mario,
make
there's
sense?
no
Is
code
that
in
metaphor?
DNA. DNA is not a code.
No.
Sorry.
It can be likened to a code to make it
Eh,
simpler and easy to understand,
But
but,
a code,
it's
but
not
a
really
code
a
is a
code.
language,
Code in
and
itself,
DNA
though.
is not a language.
That's right.
right.
That's right.
Yeah,
There you go.
that definitely is one of the most common arguments for creationism I've heard. And You know, the
That's
guy with the gap.
dumb as fuck. They're all dumb as
The
fuck.
watchmaker.
Yeah.
Well, they're not all dumb as fuck. Some of them are smart, man.
No, I mean the arguments are dumb as fuck.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, no, some of the smartest people I know have been devout all kinds of shit. Luckily, no weird ones though, like no snake handlers or anything. But smartest man I ever never knowed. See? you can see where he came up short.
Wasn't you?
No, strangely enough, devout Lutheran to his dying day was, and it was the Lutheran part that he hung to. It wasn't just the general fact of this is what most Christians believe. It was specifically the Lutheran parts. It's very, very German for an Irish guy.
Yeah, from my research on Lutheranism, it was started by a guy named Martin Luther, who disagreed with the Catholic Church. And so then because he disagreed with the Catholic Church, he pretty much started his own branch of Christianity.
To quote Eddie Izzard, he said, "Ein Minuten bitte."
Okay, Mario, to try and attempt to distinct between the two, you don't ask if DNA is code. DNA would have to be some kind of a code if it contains code. Doesn't contain any code.
It doesn't contain
I think there's a lot of miscommunication.
Any more than
with,
atoms and molecules contain code.
I think the way that we communicate science to people at high school levels or I feel like
you can say remedial. Remedial is okay.
No, just even in high school, the first time people hear these concepts, it's overly simplified to a point that it's incorrect, and then people run off into the rest of their lives with these poor analogies, such as the code. I think that's where we get that. But then take something else, like people studying hydrophobic and hydrophilic molecules. They don't hydrophilic molecules don't like water, or hydrophobic molecules are not afraid of water. There's no emotion to it, but that's how we teach children because that's how children understand it. So maybe we're doing a poor job.
If they're taught Latin, they're taught.
Well, yeah, it's what it translates to, but that's not the conceptually. That's not what actually happens. And so people,
Adam, I como Eve. Yeah, I've been meaning to do a video refuting that. Okay, Greg.
Yeah, phobic is averse.
You realize that they live thousands of years apart, right? That poses a huge problem if they're Adam and Eve, when they're supposed to live contemporary.
And there are also going to be multiple Adams and Eves. You know what I mean? If you keep going back, you're going to find more and more.
I actually did hear one interpretation of Adam and Eve, where some Christians do believe there was more than one Adam and Eve.
Believe this fucking shit.
Propagating DNA, which means
where's your evidence for this?
All right,
not the machines thing. That atheists' birth rates are lower than everyone else's.
Myself.
All right, Edgar.
We're a smaller category of people, for one. So yeah, we're going to have lower numbers. But look at the difference in size of groups.
Well, we're less likely to
propagate.
It's
everybody's biggest poop they've ever taken.
We have no motivation to continue our ideology by virtue of having children. Which, if you didn't notice, the Pope just said exactly the opposite of that.
I know a guy who lives on the other side of where I live. He's an atheist as well. He's got 6 fucking kids. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I've got one, and I've never been married, and I'm 52 years old.
Do you know why people were having lots and lots of children at one point? Because about 70% of them didn't make it past their teens.
And also, people were encouraged to by their religious organizations that having children was your duty. It was a requirement, not
contraception was kind of archaic too.
Pulling out was for pussies.
And also, I think this is another example of
religious people.
Well, I think this is another example of miscommunication when teaching the science. That the idea that the gene is selfish, and yes, we can say that because it's not that the DNA has an intention of replicating. There's no intention there. It's just the organisms that survive are the ones whose DNA has replicated. It's a result. It's not an intention.
No, I think he's a Poe.
No. He said he admitted he has questions. The evidence for there's zero. Okay, Gregory, there's so many things.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
just watch R and Ra's channel. Watch every video on R and Ra's channel and answer all your questions.
All right, Neil, you're about to say something.
There are trees older than the age of the flood, and if the flood had covered the entire planet, first of all, there'd be no sea life anymore because you'd have all the fresh water mixing with the salt water. Okay, the only species that might stick around were jellyfish and possibly brackish water fish.
Yeah, there's no way any freshwater fish survive.
No, not a fucking chance. And also, no plant life.
There wouldn't be freshwater life.
All right,
no,
Greg,
there wouldn't be.
let me show you some evidence.
Well, no land-bound plant life.
Worldwide flood. All right, so
seaweed would be all right.
Since that I'm in geology, since that I'm going to school to be a paleontologist, I know the geologic evidence against the global flood. Thank you. So great. A huge problem for the global flood, igneous and metamorphic rocks, because those are rocks that are not deposited by water. The only sort of igneous rock that is deposited by water are pillow basalts. And we do find pillow basalts, but they're not found throughout the entire world. So if there was truly a global flood, and if you want to explain away igneous rocks, you would need to find pillow basalts throughout the entire world. We don't find that. Here's a piece of, this right here is a piece of granite. This is an igneous rock. This right here is evidence against a worldwide flood. And on top of that, here's a gneiss. This is a metamorphic rock deposited by heat and pressure. If you see all these lines, all the lines are foliation, which is the evidence of pressure. So if there's a global flood, these two rocks that I have pose a big problem for the global flood, because there are rocks deposited that could not have been deposited by a global flood. So yeah, Greg, I don't think that you're a Poe. I thought maybe you were at one point, but I don't think you are. I think you've just been misled.
Right.
And he also mentioned something about flood legends too, right?
Yes, which is exactly what they are, as legends. And the funny thing about the flood legends is they all come from floodplain areas. Weird.
But yeah, and and not every place in the world has a flood legend. Like even R. Rob pointed out, Japan does not have one. So the whole world was flooded, but Japan?
Well, at the time of the flood, the what was it, the Incans or whatever were going nuts, and there are all sorts of cultures all over the world that were active during the flood time.
Yeah,
and they weren't swimming.
All the flood legends haven't.
Even cultures in the Middle East where this flood supposedly took place, there's still societies.
They were Polynesian societies, island societies that are older than the flood.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that all the
I'm older Neil, but the Incan Empire was the 1200s to the 1600s.
Yeah.
Well, it was,
and mine's younger than that. It's
one of the things that I find really ironic about Answers in Genesis, is that they're so anti-evolution, so anti-macroevolution, but at the Ark encounter, they actually contradicted themselves. They actually do admit, like the horses used to have separate hooves. I'm like, oh, okay, so you are admitting macroevolution, but just on a smaller scale.
So there were horses and goats?
The goat kind.
Yeah.
Don't even start with the macro-micro bullshit.
It's the same thing.
I've learned to accept that using the passage of time as the differential for that. And to a certain extent, I've just accepted that some dumbasses are just going to say that shit wrong. So I'm, you just have to respond to it like they're using it. But by the same token, I stopped making videos 3 years ago because I could no longer tolerate watching the idiocy that was necessary for me to make my way through just to find something interesting enough for me to get drunk enough to make fun of.
Oh my goodness.
too honest.
Yeah, us.
That was quick.
From religion.
No, that's I'm responding to.
I know.
Gregory's.
I know.
Gregory, are you serious? Because
I needed some holy water to deal with the shit.
Or maybe what he's talking about, maybe he's talking about like, sources for him to fact check.
Everything you've been told not to read one of them.
Yeah.
Read it, yeah. Just like how I was told not to go to these millions of years museums, and I was taught not to read these books promoting evolution, but I did anyway.
At random, pick one from the list that you're not supposed to read. You're going to learn something you're not supposed to, and that's a step.
Yeah. Read your own
an Answers research journal that has 0 citations. I know exactly the one he's talking about. 0 citations from actual
or read your own holy book, but be objective.
Yeah,
don't cheat for your own team.
I think that's hard once you've gotten to the point where you're denying science.
There was one article from Answers in Genesis where
that would have been an extra step.
There was one article they posted doing mental gymnastics trying to explain how kangaroos got on the ark. I kid you not.
Fuck kangaroos. How the hell did the sloths from South America get on?
Yeah,
the monkeys did it. So can the sloths.
But what was funny about this Answers in Genesis article, I kid you not, they actually explained that the kangaroos rode on top of lava rock, exploded into the air, like pretty much as if it's like a loony.
A fucking cartoon.
Is that a ham theory?
Yeah, why not?
I can't remember who posted.
I feel like that's an AIG theory, the explosive diarrhea theory.
Oh man, that was bad. Oh man, that's like Looney Tunes crap there.
It's kind of literally. Jesus God, would you stop? For Christ's sake, let him die. Sorry, I forgot what I was saying.
Maybe Anton's got it right. Maybe they had an aquarium for all the freshwater fish.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Sure.
They didn't have glass, but hey, maybe they had.
Well, no, that didn't need to be glass. It just needed to be as watertight as that.
On top of that, what about bathrooms? For like the animals. I mean, wouldn't it have smelled terrible in Noah's Ark? And wouldn't they have died?
The ship was rotting from underneath them, on top of the amount of actual shit and everything.
Oh, they would have died the first day. They all would have died from methane poisoning.
It wouldn't necessarily have been the methane from the animals either. It would the methane from the decay of the ship would have contributed to. They were all going to die. Yeah. There's no way anybody survived a year on that fucking boat.
Well, I don't know if
a ship that big can float for a year.
I don't know if you guys knew this, but Noah really liked to light his farts on fire, and I feel like he did the same thing to get rid of some of the extra methane. So
he was the original Rudolph, and he used his farts to light the way. By the way, I still want to see
coming out in the middle of the ship.
All fart. Yeah, there's one of those like there's like a petroleum processing plant near me, and there's like the eye of Sauron that's up at all times. Yeah,
just the flame that is always constantly burning. Yeah.
I'd like to know how many species we lost on Noah's Ark because they ran out of meat food and they had to slaughter a species to.
Yeah, they ran out of Miracle Burgers and Imagine Meat.
I think.
This is
something that cool how the flood laid all the dead bodies down in order, so we would find them in like a specific order
from age.
During my deconversion story, I totally forgot to mention this. I actually went back to the Glendive Dinosaur and Fossil Museum in August of last year. It was kind of awkward. It's because what the
fuck does this mean?
The curator, because atheists have no sex appeal. Look at
Arn's got kids and he's married, so
I mean,
if his sex appeal is around anymore.
Would you like to see a picture of my son?
I know him.
Would you like to see a picture of his mom?
I know him personally, and he's a fucking good guy. Okay, so
we saw him in his pirate costume.
Actually,
everybody, hang out.
The tall one is my son.
Everybody, hang on for a second.
Go fuck
Edgar,
yourself,
you don't.
you asshole.
Edgar, you don't even have an avatar, dude.
You egg. Such
What
an
are you
egg.
hiding?
Like,
Just
like,
a
where's
troll.
your picture? I'm just.
And I've been
just
told
asking.
I have sex appeal.
I've been told
I
that
just told you about sex appeal.
13 year
Oh
old.
my
My mom
goodness.
says I have
And
a
I'm
lot of sex
straight.
appeal.
My mom says.
That's
My
not
mom
weird
thinks
at
I'm
all.
really special.
That's not weird at all.
My other mom says I'm cute.
That is the cutest fucking
Yeah.
puppy ever. Get it away.
damn.
Get it
We
away.
have low birth rates because that we're a wealthy nation, and that correlates well with the wealth of an average GDP per person.
Gregory, sorry, sweet. My email is in the description box.
Here's my defense for oh my god, are you kidding me right now?
No,
For
it's happening
evolution.
right now.
Somebody tell me what breed of wolf this is.
Ah, right.
That's
Gray.
a black wolf.
Yeah.
Well, actually, she's not black. It's weirdly, she's very charcoal with when in the sunlight,
Okay.
it's very rusty, like she's chocolate lab instead of black lab.
Shut the fuck
It just
up.
kind of looks
It's
black.
black.
Maybe it's because of the lighting on it.
It's the lighting. I have a black dog.
Hey, Stags,
But he's
what
over
color
there.
would you say, like, like a charcoal briquette is? That's black, yeah?
Depends. Is
Yeah.
it ashy
Yeah,
or is it
okay.
brand new?
I don't know, man. Tell me about your lighting, and I'll
Hey,
answer your
come on.
question.
Let me get the black dog over here.
Dog's fucking black.
Go get Eddie. Go. Tell
Hey,
Is the
Eddie,
dress
come
black
yellow
chair.
and white, or is
Eddie,
it
Eddie,
blue
come
and
over
white?
here so everybody can see the difference between black and charcoal. Come here. Come on, boy. Come here.
Let me tell you something. I am black.
Here we
What's
go.
that?
This one's black, and this one is charcoal.
No, that's
Cool.
brown,
That
bro.
one looks
I can tell brown when I see it.
Yeah, that one looks
It's mad brown
dude.
right in the face.
for Gregory and who else in the chat.
Black.
He's
Want-
got red face.
You want me to mute them all, Ben? Because I can
My
mute all
dog
the
is red
motherfuckers.
skull.
No, I want to since Gregory and whoever else are talking about creationism and the flood and stuff in the chat. If you want to have more conversations about this, I'm gonna be on the Sunday show this week, so you can call in and have this discussion with Shannon Q and me on Sunday if you really want to.
Are you doing something with Shannon?
Yes, yeah.
Nice.
Shannon Q and I are doing the Sunday show this week.
Okay,
Pretty excited.
because
And then
because you,
Gregory,
because
the
you brought her
box
up.
says
Yeah.
This is flat.
Has anybody else been watching the Shannon and the holiday episodes of the Shannon and her boyfriend?
Paul?
Yeah, Paul.
Oh yeah. Apologia.
Have you seen their episodes together where they're getting increasingly intoxicated as they're watching Night at the Creation Museum?
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
It's so fucking awesome. I have the rare. I have seen her drunk more than most people, and I love her. I
I've
love
seen
her when
in
she's
person
intoxicated.
Fucking hammered.
Yeah. I.
But yeah, so if
she's
I
so
went to
funny when
the
she's
Ark
drunk.
Encounter, man, if I went to that Kentucky Creation Museum now, it would be with a lot of resentment, knowing that.
Have you been there?
No, I have not.
Oh, okay.
The only creation museum I've been to is the Glendive Dinosaur and Fossil Museum, which I actually did revisit in August of last year with my now ex.
I was afraid you were going to say the Dr. Dino Museum in Florida.
Yeah, the Dinosaur Adventureland. But yeah, it was kind of awkward going back, is because that the main guy who runs it, he knows that I'm no longer a young Earth creationist, and he definitely came across that he's sad that I left young Earth creationism, and he wishes that I never left. But he just didn't want to argue with me about it, and it was a lot easier for me to refute all of their arguments when I last went. And one of the arguments is, we find Mosasaur like in 2 continents. That is evidence of the global flood. I'm like, that's plate tectonics. Yeah, that's easily explained by plate tectonics.
Y'all are
By the
better.
way,
You guys
Gregory,
have a good night. I'm taking off.
All
all
right.
right, Ollie.
It's been a long work week, so I'm gonna go get
Yeah, the
some.
week's not even over yet.
All that commuting.
A rare pleasure.
Oh, the commuting's not getting me. Well,
It's the being awake part.
It's the being awake part, exactly.
Yeah, great. Sorry, Neil. Was she about to say something?
Yeah, I was. I was gonna mention to Gregory that a flat Earth is literally the center of biblical cosmology. Not to mention that, according to biblical cosmology, Earth is at the center of our solar system, which we now know isn't true as well. You're talking about people that wrote a book that didn't even know where the sun went at night.
Neil, my first 2 videos were on a creationist pastor that I got into an argument with on Google Plus, which is where I got into all my best arguments on.
It was like Randolph's Hangout.
Yeah, for those of you who don't remember what a great place it was to be able to long form an argument in
hey guys,
DM form.
Right back.
Right on. I'm gonna miss him. Damn it, my callback ruined what
All right, he's gone. Let's talk
what I was talking about.
Sweet's still in the line.
It was Google Plus. Yeah, I'm sorry. What it can.
Gregory, I have one for you. I want you to go concentrate on Judges 119 and ask yourself if you want to worship a God that's so weak that iron chariots literally strike fear into him.
He lost the first people he created in the first place that he created for them to walk. It's not really impressive.
Lost them?
I mean, kind of a noob.
Yeah, no, he lost
I know,
track.
'cause you had to go in there and ask where they were.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, also,
and that wasn't the last time he didn't know where somebody was.
Oh, and an omnipotent being regretted what he
right,
did.
yeah, no, there's an episode of me with the Iowans doing a Bible verse where we talk about the fact that again he has lost track of the fucking people he was talking to.
Artie, we don't talk about the Iowans anymore.
Oh, what do we call them now?
No, we just don't talk about them.
Also,
we don't talk about
Iowa literally suck.
Also, God got mad at people for building a tower to try to reach heaven, but somehow isn't mad that we're like in fucking space now.
Yeah, and so somehow he's not upset with the space station.
Not yet. Wait till he hears about it.
Wait till they find out what color it is when it comes back.
If I could hit you with a lightning bolt, I would.
Oh, I got.
I'll see if I can find the verse.
A friend of mine called. So what all did I miss?
I got blocked today on Twitter by 2 people that called me a bigot.
When he said that,
one of them
that reminds me of how Ken Ham once was arguing how the good dinosaur is evolution propaganda, but then somebody pointed out, it's not much different than what you believe, because in the movie they actually do depict humans and dinosaurs lived side by side, and then after that, Ken Ham actually ended up blocking him.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about Kent Hovind. He had an empire that he felt like was worth defending, even as he was going to jail for federal felony charges. So much so that he bequeathed it to his son and wife to take care of while he was in prison. But it turns out that he was such a piece of shit that she divorced him and he just took it from him. And then he comes out of prison and he's all bitter about it, like they're the assholes.
Wow.
Dude,
yeah,
you're an embezzling fucking dickhead who went to prison.
I think he went to prison for
and you're
structuring.
mad at your kid for taking that asset away from you, and you're mad at your wife that it turns out you beat the shit out of for leaving you.
I think he went to jail for structuring. Sweet knows all about that.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm talking
From
about.
my understanding, Ken Hovind went to jail because he didn't pay his taxes.
No, structuring is a very complicated thing that he turns into.
Structuring
it's called structuring. But what he did was he hid assets in order to not pay taxes on it, and then called them assets on behalf of a entity that didn't pay taxes.
That's not structuring.
And then
that's
called
just
it
tax
his
fraud.
money.
That's not structuring. That's just tax fraud.
Well,
I think
Structuring is a very
I think it was
complicated
both.
procedure in money laundering.
yeah, it's.
He was.
Well, I feel like that's
instead
kind of
of-
what I described, but
I think
obviously in a
he
way
got
that's
he got
not
in trouble.
accurate.
He got in trouble for like multiple things. So I think they're both true.
Well, and then he beat his wife. Wives.
Yeah, wives. And
It's also weird that he continues to marry women that look increasingly more like him. His first wife looked a little bit like him, but his second wife that he's now facing litigation against, if you look at their wedding pictures, she's the one with long hair.
I feel so sorry for his.
It's so masturbatory.
Here's what I've heard about Dinosaur Adventureland. I've actually heard about that there's actually been cases of sexual assault on like children there.
Well, there was the kid that drowned, and he was more concerned about whether or not his dad was going to bring the rest of the kids back the next year. There was that.
That's horrible.
The fact that that's an actual thing that I witnessed makes me want to throw up.
It actually nowhere in the Bible does it literally say the Earth is flat, but there's so many things.
No, but there's corners that you can
so
see from
many-
here to there, and
Well, it doesn't say well, in some interpretations it says corners, in others it says quarters. But
would still
when there in a lot of the Psalms, it has stuff like when the earth and all its people quake, it is I who hold its pillars firm. So the earth is on pillars, like chair leg or table legs or something.
Yep, and it also says Psalm
Or-
91, yes, it's established the earth shall never be moved.
Or the
here's what I think is the pillars is a large group of remember the big thick McDonald's straws that they give you with the big. I mean, McDonald's gives you a substantial straw. If you get like 60 of those in a group, I feel like that's the pillars they're talking about.
Yeah,
in Revelation it says corners. After I saw the four angels standing at the four corners of the earth, four corners. So I guess Earth is square now too.
And the Hebrew word that they use
it's
for
a
the
it's a
whole
parallelogram.
round is a disc.
It's a disc. Oh, that's right too.
Yeah, it could mean
That's right.
quarters.
I speak Hebrew.
Like quadrants, the corners.
The
corners.
Hebrew word
It's
that they
probably
use for
quadrants.
round in the when I don't forget what verse it is, but the whole round of the earth, it speaks of a disc.
Okay, but here's something else too that makes it just like what the fuck, because it says in the Bible in multiple places the world is established, firm, and secure. It doesn't move, which we now know is not true either.
In any sense. Even the earth beneath us is moving.
Oh yes, it's always moving.
On the
Milky Way.
earth.
Not only is it moving
it's-
like this,
It's moving
around
on the surface
sun,
of the earth.
and our entire solar system is moving.
And
around
the earth, the
galactic
surface of the
center.
earth is moving because the continental plates float.
Yeah, not enough for you to notice it.
No,
Unless
but they're
there's an
still
earthquake.
moving.
Did you
Yeah,
know
but
if you wanted
we're not noticing any of the rest of that shit, Neil.
This is one of the
if
things
somebody was 65 million light years away, they would be looking at the dinosaurs, but they would also be looking at the other end of the galaxy
That's right.
because
This is
65
what I
million
say,
years
time
is
travel.
about what it takes
And
to
a
halfway
boat
around.
somewhere in the middle.
This is what
That's
I
what-
forgot to mention during my deconversion story. When I did research, I noticed a lot of parallelism, like with like an unmovable Earth and the Earth being the center of the universe, like with Age of the Earth and evolution. That was one of the things that got me to think, okay, history repeats itself. What is going on back then is what's going on now, like with evolution.
What?
Like,
my immediate answer is yes.
pretty much.
The same things are happening as were happening then.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, pretty much.
Dinosaurs were driving cars? Is that what you're trying
Well,
to tell me?
yeah, the Flintstones.
Flintstones, meet the Flintstones.
I hate it when they do that.
And there was a coyote that couldn't quite get a giant roadrunner for some reason. And
I don't
The
think your dog liked
Flintstones
the
were
coyote
actually
coming.
the apocalyptic aftermath of the Jetsons.
stop it.
I heard about that theory. That's an actual theory, or not
Yeah.
theory, because theories are.
It's a fan theory.
Fan theory, yeah.
Neil,
So,
remember
out of
those
curiosity-
videos that I made about incredibly stupid shit?
Yes,
Same shit.
yes.
So Neil, out of curiosity, Have you ever interviewed anybody else who ever said that dinosaurs like were the reason why that they left young Earth creationism?
Well, people have brought it up in their deconversion stories.
Actually, Paul.
Quite a few.
Paul is one of them that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's one of them.
Yeah, he brought it up in his deconversion story when he was on the show.
My relationship with Paul is entirely related to one of the first videos I ever made that made fun of somebody, and so I ended up on the Sci Show on Sunday night or Saturday night or whatever night the fucking Sci Show was on, and they were looking for somebody to talk to because they wanted to show my video, and Paul's like, he's a fan of mine. I just got a DM from him telling me what a great fan of me he is. And so he sent me a DM, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm awake." That's how I met all of those guys. I made a video making fun of. I think it was definitely one of my Daphne videos, but I can't necessarily remember which. It might have been. It wasn't a flat Earth video. It was a Daphne video.
I actually have wanted to go on Paula Diaz's channel. Like in case if there's any more, creationist arguments that he wants somebody to come on and refute. Yeah, I totally would be willing to.
I stand first in line if he ever wants to put some sarcastic asshole on his show to refute some shit. He's like, I don't think that's really what I want to do with my gig, but if I ever change my mind, Artie, you're my guy.
Hey guys, I gotta pack it in about 10 minutes here, so.
Okay.
Just to give you guys a heads up, because I got to go and deal with my roommate. So
I got to go back to work. I've been out for a week. I got to go back to work tomorrow.
Oh. Yeah, they make you stay home for like 5 days or some shit, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, they could have brought me back earlier, or tried to bring me back earlier, but like Tuesday, like, so I know you couldn't come in yesterday. Are you good today? I'm like, no, I'm not.
Is this about the condition of your feet?
No.
Well, no. That's why they made me start wearing shoes to work, which is
okay.
Which is just offensive.
I still want to see him. I just want to make sure that we understand that going forward.
My wife is so great. She gave me a pedicure last year.
Oh, she might have fucked it up for me then.
And it was like,
last year?
Yeah. And I was like, we could just have some like spaghetti tomorrow. Parmesan cheese, right? Meow, baby.
Yeah.
We could just sprinkle that right on there.
No.
I've got two friends.
Again.
Nasty.
I've got two current friends that I've had since I was 14. That's 38 years in Artemis years.
Gregory, it's nice to see you in the chat, my friend. I'll call you.
Call into the Sunday show.
One of them is 2.5 weeks out of doing 90 days in West Virginia, getting dried out. And the other one informed me the week before Christmas that he wasn't going to tell his parents about the fact that he had stage 4 bone cancer until after the first of the year.
Oh, whoa, what?
And I just lost Shorty, and my mom just had hip replacement surgery. And my dad is Parkinson's, dementia, scoots along the floor slightly faster than a snail with a skateboard. and if you want to know what true love means, participate in the bathing of your 78-year-old father who can't bathe himself any longer. Especially if your mother with a brand new hip is wearing and no right breast because she's survived breast cancer, wearing a bathing suit to bathe your father as after you've undressed him and gotten him around the corner. Holy shit, my life has gotten weird, man.
Yeah.
Welcome to aging.
Neil, you continue to be an inspiration to me in many, 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 many ways, and your love for your parents is one of the things that continues to make me think I can get through this. This is holy shit. This is weird. I got this. I can do all of this is bad. I can do this.
My mom's happy now. She's in a home, right? Like that she loves to be in. They're on a lockdown, so I haven't seen her for 2 weeks. But
I have things that I hope for that I should not be hoping for my mother. But you have. I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to entertain both of your balls at the same time, but I just want you to.
Well, which one specifically?
I'm gonna go with left because they usually hang lower.
Yes. You are correct, sir.
I just want you to know that I love you, and I fully appreciate any opportunity to ever have a conversation with you. And that thing that I said over here in the side thing is, I absolutely mean that.
Chain mail.
Neil makes me call my mom every week. Neil tells me about his mom. I'm like, let me call my mama, see what she's up to. Aww. And you know, she never answers these days. She just texts me. I'm like, what a role reversal this has become. As a teenager, she couldn't get me on the phone because I don't want to talk to my mom. And now she's so hard to get a hold of. And then I finally get a hold of her. It's like 2:00 in the afternoon and she's just waking up. I'm like, what the hell have you been doing with your day? Get up, woman.
That is
now
so
you're the
my mom.
Yeah.
My mom is taking care of a man with Parkinson's that's losing his mind and can't move while she rehabs from having hip replacement 6 weeks ago. My mom has picked my dad up off an icy driveway because
Greg, that's an easy one. If Adam and Eve were real, we would be able to literally, as I said before, we've been able to genetically trace back to them.
We never have.
And we never have. That's right. Yes.
And he also asked what
DNA evidence.
Okay, so the behemoth actually was just a really big kaiju-sized cow. When it says tail like a cedar tree, that's talking about its penis.
How do you know that?
Because it did.
Behemoth is just a fictional. The entire book is fiction. It's just it's a mythology, like every other religion ever.
Because I did research, and
I've written a lot of haikus that aren't literal.
The original Hebrew text says his tail extends like a cedar tree, and then right before it says the cities of the stones are wrapped together, meaning it's talking about its testicles. So yeah.
Well, I speak Hebrew and can read Hebrew, so I'd like to see that.
Okay, yeah. I can
to see your penis.
I'd like to pop up the source, but yeah.
In Hebrew?
No, just the Jewish part.
But yeah, and Greg.
I'd love to tell you, but the rabbi kept it to make a wallet.
Chewed on it.
Yeah, Greg. So if it's supposed
he
to be
blew bubbles with it in the car on his way home to his wife.
Artie, why?
Hi, Simba. He's
not okay.
All right, folks.
I'm not okay, Neil. I'm not
okay.
That
was
fun.
I gotta wrap this up. Arn Ra doesn't give a shit about William Lake Craig. He's not afraid to debate him. He could kick Craig's ass. That's why he doesn't bother.
Yeah, if there was less of a fuck to give.
Craig uses the same old fucking arguments that have been refuted multiple times by many people over and over again.
This is why I want to come back on your show.
The change person. I'm gonna say wallet because I'm bragging a little bit, Multi. So
I want to do
a woman's wallet.
A tiny wallet.
Yeah.
To hold my tiny credit cards in.
Small limits.
Like a cervix.
Did someone tell Artie that he's cut off? You're cut off, Artie. All right. Yeah, I gotta wrap it up, guys. I gotta go and help out my roommate.
So. Wait, how can they tell from there?
It's like I didn't think my screen was that low.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Check my angle.
Is my United Methodism that obvious?
The ontological, teleological, all that stuff. You name it, Greg.
All of them.
Especially his favorite, the Kalam.
Kalam cosmological argument. Yeah.
Name one of them Steve, because that's my favorite.
Anyway, I got to wrap this up. Thanks, everyone in the chat for hanging out with us. Hope you guys had fun here. Thanks again to the guest tonight, Eric, the Tyrannoceratops, for being a guest on the show and sticking around with us for the after party. Thanks to all you guys for hanging out in the after party. Always fun as usual. Now I got to remember who was in it so I can do the thank you tweet. You're not on Twitter, Eric.
Well,
you're not going to see the thank you tweet.
Yeah, don't be that guy.
Well, I actually am on Twitter, but I just don't go on my Twitter a whole lot.
Well, get active because I'm going to put send me a message on Twitter so I can tag you in the tweet. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
This will be your reason to join the chaos.
Okay.
Yes, I can't tell you how many people I've dragged onto Twitter.
Twitter is a completely rational ecosphere where people are all polite.
Lies. Lies.
Everyone's so positive. It's overwhelming, really.
Just use it to talk with us because that's what I do. I ignore all the crap.
Yeah, remember my
Although
Google
I get
Plus
lured in sometimes.
Remember my Google Plus fetish and the long form conversations we used to be able to have? The extra characters are I make
Settle down, Artie.
I make so many people mad with so few words. I got so good at using 140 characters that I just feel like it's cheating to use the rest.
Anywho, thank you guys in the chat there for hanging out with us. I appreciate you all being there. Watch Make Your Argument is no, Greg. I'm not getting into we'll talk about that later.
I love you even if you're wrong.
Yeah. Thanks to all my amazing patrons. You guys really are the reason why I'm able to keep doing the show. If you'd want to learn how you can help out the show, there are multiple ways to do so down below in the description box. If you missed the interview with Eric, it is also down in the description box.
And if you gave him more money, he wouldn't have to talk to his roommate right now.
That's right. Anyways, True Talk is coming soon. Watch for it. Randolph and I are going to be talking to people on our own version of a call-in show. You can learn more about it at www.truenorthtalk.ca. And don't forget that myself and Mr. Mikey here and some other fabulous people have been involved with the new relaunched Not Profits, which airs 3 p.m. Central between Talk Heathen and the Atheist Experience on the ACA channel, so to speak. It's actually YouTube, but you know. And the last Saturday of every month at 2 p.m. Pacific, Andy, Seamus, and myself get together with a guest, and we poke fun at stuff. And it's called Atheist Drinking Out Loud, and it's over on Andy's channel, which is called Laughing in Disbelief. And that's it, guys. Once again, Eric, thanks, brother, for jumping in here.
Yeah, of course. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I try. And I try to pull in some fun people so that we have.
He's not just pretty. He's also fun to talk to.
Oh, yeah. Pie hole.
Don't tell my mom that.
Anyways, guys, like I always say at the end of the after parties, like the late, great Carl Sagan once said, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
Wear a mask.
We'll see you guys next time.
Wear a mask.
Yes.
He also said you don't have any rights. Watch that one.
All right. Once again.
Later, everybody. Subscribe to my channel.